Hi everyone, Angela here. To make this produce bag, I'm using some non-stretch cotton netting, but you can use any type of strong mesh for this project. First, cut away the selvage edges and straighten out the bottom. Cut out one bottom mesh piece and one top mesh piece. You can find the link for this pattern down in the description below. Next, cut out of fabric a center band and a top band. I'm using a contrast fabric to cut the strip out for the drawstring and also the lining for the center band. You can also use the same fabric for all the pattern pieces. Fold the drawstring in half lengthwise with wrong sides together and press along the entire strip. Open up and then fold the outer edges towards the center, leaving a very small gap, and press. You can also use a bias tape maker to help you do this. Once that's done, fold in half again and give it another press. Open up the ends and fold over about ½ inch, push the corners in, creating a triangle in the center, and fold in half again. This will keep the raw edges inside and create a little angle for the end. Repeat for the other end and clip the edges if you need to. I'm using a Brother NV50S sewing machine. The link for this and the tools I use are in the description below. Make sure to use coupon code NOTCHES NV50S for the special offer. To sew the drawstring, start your stitching a little bit in from the end. To edge stitch, lower your needle just beside the folds. If you have a magnetic edge guide, place it on the left side of the drawstring. Hold on to your threads when you start your stitching, back tack to the edge, and then continue your edge stitching. Finish by back tacking at the other end. There's no need to stitch across the short ends of the drawstring. Next, have the center band right side up. If you have directional fabric, make sure this is the top of the print here. Place the bottom mesh piece on top and then the center band lining with the wrong side up. Make sure the bottom edges are all lined up and clip in place if you need to. Stitch all together using a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, back tacking at the start and finish. Fold down the center band lining and the bottom mesh piece. Place the other mesh piece on top and line up the top edges. Roll up the bottom of the mesh pieces together nice and skinny away from this top area. Flip up the center band lining, match the top edges, and clip in place. Next, we'll sew the seam closed. This is called the Burrito method. Again, use a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, back tacking at the start and finish. Carefully pull the mesh out and you can see all the raw edges are sandwiched nicely between the fabric. Pull along both seams and give each side a press. Fold in half with wrong sides together, match those center seams, and then clip the side and bottom edges together. Stitch around using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, pivoting at the corner and back tacking at the start and finish. If you're finding this video helpful, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and turn on all notifications, and also leave a comment below. I'm using my Kai 6-inch embroidery scissors for the trimming. To reduce some bulk, we'll trim the seam of the center band. Carefully cut half of the seam allowance, leaving about 1/8 of an inch. Go into the bag and then turn the side seam over and then the bottom seam, hang on to this corner and then turn the bag inside out. Adjust the seam so that it's right in the center. Put a couple of clips on the seam of the center band. We're going to sew the seams again, this time using a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. This is called a French seam. The raw edges are kept neatly inside the seam. Make sure to check out my video here on how to make a really simple drawstring bag. Turn your bag right side out. On the top band, we need to fold this bottom edge. Flip over to the wrong side and then draw a line along the bottom 3/4 of an inch up from the edge. Then on the right side, draw a line 5/8 of an inch in from the edge. On that line, measure down 2 inches from the top and make a mark. Measure down another inch and mark. Fold up the bottom edge 3/8 of an inch to the line and press across. Fold the band in half with right sides together, flatten out that bottom corner, and clip in place. Stitch along the seam line starting with the back tack, stitch to the first mark, back tack, skip over to the second mark, back tack, and then stitch and finish with the back tack. Separate the fabric and open up the seam. Top stitch 1/4 inch on either side of the seam. This will keep the opening for the drawstring nice and neat. Fold the bottom edge again and crease. Turn the band right side out and place inside the bag. Match the seams together, clip in place, and then clip all around the top. Remove the flatbed attachment and stitch all around the top using a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. There's no need to back tack, just overlap your stitching about an inch to finish. Flip the seam up towards the band and press on both sides. Adjust the bag so that the opening is in the center, and then place the bottom half of the band on top of the drawstring. Keeping it flat, bring over the end of the drawstring, flip the end up once, and then thread it through the opening. Repeat for the other end, and then even them out a bit. Now place the top folded edge along the seam and pin in place. Keep the drawstring flat as you pin all around. Of course, you don't have to worry about this if you're using cording or if you choose to put in your drawstring after you make the bag. We're now going to edge stitch around, making sure to catch the back edge of the band. Starting at the seam, edge stitch all around, back tacking at the start and finish. When you finish this first row of edge stitching and you want to do an optional second row of top stitching, just lift the foot and then line up the left side of the foot with the edge of the band. Then move the needle position all the way to the right so that it's about 1/2 inch from the edge. Stitch all around again, back tacking at the start and finish. Even out your ends and tie a knot close to the opening. As I mentioned earlier, you can use the same fabric for all the pieces and use cording or tape for the drawstring. Here I've just stitched a bumblebee patch to the front and I'm using a bootlace for the drawstring. I also added a spring cord lock to the ends. No need for those single-use plastic bags anymore. Thanks again for watching. Make sure to check out my video up next.